Most of us are trying to be better in our heads without a way to see our progress, track our patterns, or catch ourselves kindly in the moment we drift. Welcome back to Healthy Mind, Healthy Life, the show where we keep mental wellness practical, honest, and doable in real life. I'm Yusuf, and today I'm joined by Dr. Len Lopez, who has spent over 25 years helping people learn how to eat right and train smart. And more recently, he created 5 steps a day, a simple daily tracking tool, an app, calendar, or journal that helps improve habits and attitude by checking in how we feed our body, mind, and spirit. With that, I welcome my guest, Dr. Len Lopez, to the show.
Hey, Yusuf, thank you for that nice introduction, and it's a pleasure to be here this morning.
Perfect, sir. Most welcome to the show. Sir, before we get into the system, bring us into the human moment. When did you first realize people don't just need information, they need a way to stay with themselves daily?
I guess I really learned it when I was in practice. 'Cause, for about 25 years, for those who don't know me, I spent 25 years trying to teach people how to eat right and train smart. They came in for various health issues, arthritis, diabetes, osteoporosis, pain, weight loss. And one thing I noticed is that, I always say this, is that people would say, "This is why I'm here, doc." But the real motivating reason people came to see people like myself were because people want to look better, they want to feel better, they want to sleep better, and depending on how old you are, they just want to have better intimacy. That's what the real underlying motivating reason people came to get better. And so through that, hearing people tell me their stories about maybe their health and fitness dilemmas and their health concerns, they would, after like the second or third or fourth visit, they would just start sharing more stuff about them. And my thinking was they're here to see me for my health and fitness knowledge, right? And so, but now they're telling me some other stories that are going on in their life that are more, emotionally based, maybe spiritually background, anything, but it's not kind of what my so-called strength is in, and or not strength, but what I'm considered an expert in. And so, I would just listen and learn more. It got me to start learning more, and I realized that, hey, we are body, mind, and spirit. And sometimes if you get the body working great, fantastic. But if you don't have your mind and spirit tied together with it, maybe you're not getting to the fullness of what you want. And so, it's like three legs to a stool. I think we all need to make sure all three of the legs are working properly and evenly balanced to make sure that we are supported for in whatever endeavor, body, mind, and spirit. And so that's kind of what I've been trying to help help inform people about, especially with 5 steps a day.
Hmm. I'm curious, what is a misconception you see all the time about habits and health? Like the story people keep telling themselves that quietly sets them up to fail.
Well, here's the one thing that I learned just as far as just the way we think, right? And that's one of the steps of the 5 step think. Did you think better today? That when I learned this years ago, was that they say, according to the researchers, again, I'm not an expert in that field, but the little expert, they said that we process about 50,000 thoughts a day. Now, that was just amazing enough when you think about it, that your brain will process 50,000 thoughts in a day. But the thing that was really more fascinating to me was they were able to say that of those 50,000 thoughts, more than 80% of them are geared negatively. You're thinking about the garbage you were dealing with yesterday, as opposed to thinking about the good thing that you're trying to achieve. And so I can understand, like I said, the 80-20 rule. 80% of your thoughts are negative. My journey, my goal is trying to help people realize that our habits and attitudes, it's like an autopilot system. They anchor our habits and attitude, and so we need to improve maybe we need to just, go from 80-20, 80 negative to 20% positive. Maybe can we go to like 70, 78-22? Just can we move the scale just a hair here and a hair here? Now that may not sound like a lot, but it's possible that maybe just changing your thinking, changing your diet, changing your habit just a little bit could start moving you in the direction that you want to go. And like anything else, when you start seeing positive results, you can start. It's easier to keep the ball rolling, and that's kind of what I've kind of learned over the last several years.
Yeah. Yeah. So it is not just about bad habits, it is the emotional loop around them. And that's where your system feels different.
Habits aren't good or bad. I like to say habits are like your autopilot system, right? We all know what an autopilot system is in an airplane. And if you set that autopilot system correctly, you could
Mm.
have a nice, smooth ride. But if those autopilot system isn't set properly, if your habits and attitudes aren't set appropriately, you could be headed towards a more bumpier ride. And so, it's up to you to decide, as I always say, what are you looking to try to arrive at the land of are you trying to get to the proverbial land of milk and honey, which is what everybody's real goal is, right? They're trying to find that happiness, right? But unfortunately, a lot of us don't know where our proverbial land of milk and honey is. And this is why so many people end up at the land of heartaches and headaches. And so, where are you trying to move yourself? And I share this because when I talk to like younger kids, right? People that are college and younger, they know we have choices, right? When you're in high school, you have X amount of choices. When you're in college, you may have more choices. After when you're in your late 20s, 30s, you have a lot more choices you have to deal with. Are your choices do you need to improve some of your choices? Oh, maybe I need to get up earlier. I need to make sure I don't sleep all day. I need to make sure I get off my phone what choices are you making? Because as I say, your choices are rooted in your habits and attitude. And your habits and attitude are like your DNA. It's your
Mm.
genetic code. If you think about it, I use that your genetic code, if you trace back your genetic code, you can see where you came from, right? Well, by the same token, if you trace back your habits and attitude, you may notice that some of your achievements and some of your accomplishments are rooted in those better habits and attitude. But to continue the story, those if you trace back your habits and attitude, you may find that some of those difficulties and some of those challenges you've had in your life can also be traced back to some of those maybe not so good habits and attitude you were following at the time. And so it's all about choices.
Yeah. Dr. Len Lopez, you created 5 steps a day. Tell us more about it.
Well, you know, I created this basically. I created it years ago, but I really didn't do anything with it. But I knew years ago that we were body, mind, and spirit. And I guess in the last 20 years, when everybody started getting the various watches, right, and everybody's tracking their steps to see if they were physically active, did they walk, did they take enough steps a day? Because we were sitting in front of our computers way too long. Well, I realized that I created it's kind of like Seinfeld's calendar for those who know Jerry Seinfeld when he invented his calendar years ago. It's just a simple way to visually quickly see, are you doing the things you need to be doing that's going to help you move in the direction you want to go? And so the 5 steps is just a simple acronym. The word steps is an acronym for sleep, think, eat, physical, and spirit. And to just to explain it simply, like exercise. Today we're tracking our steps with our watches, right? And so all I'm asking my people to do is to improve your habits and attitude. Did you do anything physical today? Did you carve out some time in your day to do anything physical? If you did, you shade in the letter P, right? And so I'm not asking if it was a hard workout, long workout, aerobic, anaerobic, but did you carve out some time in your day to be physically active? I think we all know that physical activity is beneficial for body, mind, and spirit, right? And so
Yeah.
if you did shade in the P, did you eat right today? Hey, what do you mean eat right, dog? And I say this, openly to everybody because we're all starting from different starting points. For somebody,
Mm.
they may say eating right, has to be grass fed, it has to be organic, it has to be yada yada yada. Others may say, just no junk food or this. Guys, all I'm trying to say in simple terms, did you at least have more good meals today than bad? Unfortunately, for a lot of people that I've seen, they said, "Oh, I was following a diet doc, and I was doing good the first 2 days, 3 days. Then I went out with my friends, and, yeah, I just splurged." And, they fell off the wagon, but they never got back on again. All we're trying to
Mm,
say, guys, did you at least have most people, used to have you eat about 3 meals a day, basically, right? That and so, did you at least have more good meals than bad? It's like, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. You're still moving in the right direction. The goal is to keep on moving in that direction. Yeah, you maybe had a good breakfast, good lunch. You went out with your friends that night. It was a birthday party, anniversary, whatever, and you splurge with whatever you like to splurge with, and that would throw you off your diet. But did you have, the next day, "Hey, I wanna eat better today." You have a good breakfast, maybe lunch was terrible, but you had a dinner meeting or a lunch meeting, but did you eat right today enough to where it's moving you in the right direction? And I love saying it this way, you said just for the fact that, being an old baseball guy, and that, home runs are great, right? But you can still win with base hits, and so
yeah.
the 2 steps forward, 1 step back, are you making the steps to get where you wanna be healthier and fitter and everything? So that covers the body, and I don't know if you want me to explain all the steps real quick right now or not, or we'll go one by one.
Can you please explain those all 5 steps?
Yeah, let's go.
Really?
So, right now we did the P and the E, which more to the physical body. Let's talk about how do you train the mind? How do you work your mind? Guys, it's all about, positive thinking. The letter T, did I think better today? I'm not asking you if you repeated some magic phrase a bazillion times, right? I'm just saying, 80% of our thoughts are kind of geared towards the negative. Did we remind ourselves, give ourselves a little self-talk that I feel great. I'm a winner. I can do it. Whatever vocabulary you want to use for yourself, because we're all different, right? But guys, self-talk for a lot of people that may seem kind of strange and awkward and everything. But guys, people vacation by themselves. They travel by themselves. They dine, exercise, sleep by themselves. So you can talk to yourself. Maybe 30 seconds, 10, 15 seconds, 30 seconds, a minute of telling yourself, I can do it. I feel great. I'm the best. Maybe once in the morning, maybe again in the afternoon, in the evening, 1 or 2, 3 minutes in that day. Is that going to make a difference? I don't know, but I can tell you one thing: for the 1 to 3 minutes that where you're complimenting yourself, you're giving yourself a pat on the back. That's 1 or 3 minutes. You're not kicking yourself in the rear, telling yourself what you can't do. And so, are you do just can that little shift be enough to where the momentum starts turning the tide? And that's what we're talking about. Did you think better today? It may feel awkward, but to begin with, but you know, pe- born leaders and positive thinkers, they're not made. They are. You're not. We're not filled. The world isn't filled with born leaders and positive thinkers. It's a learned skill. Question is, are you going to learn it? And as we said a minute ago, about 80% of our thoughts are slanted negatively. So if we can just shift it a little bit, maybe that could be enough to turn things around. If you wake up every morning and you don't remind yourself that it's going to be a great day. I feel great. Life is getting better. I'm going to do great on this project. I'm going to do great on my interview, in my presentation, on my podcast. If you don't wake up and think that and everything, you don't walk up to the plate to go hit. You don't step up to the to the free throw line or to make a penalty kick. You don't step up to the microphone thinking, "Oh my God, I don't know if this is going to be good." You have to walk up there confidently. And so, how long does it take you after you wake up in the morning before you give yourself any words of encouragement? Do you wait till after you go to the bathroom when you get up? Yeah, after you go to shower, after you have breakfast, after you take the kids to school, after you get to the office, after lunch? You have to start reminding yourself and moving the needle here a little bit, here a little bit, here. It'll be awkward, but it'll come about. Now, the first step, did I sleep? Did I sleep and dream good thoughts? Did I sleep and dream about my tomorrow? This is what we're talking about. Guys, we all know it's not good to eat junky food before bedtime, right? So why would you fall asleep with the remote control in your hand or your cell phone in your hand and let your subconscious mind take over and start feeding you some of the thoughts, some of the fears, some of the worries and anxieties that we all have? All we're talking about, if you slept and dream good thoughts, shade in that first S, right? If you think better, shade in that T. And all we're trying to do at the end of the day, during the day, when you look at it, when you look at if you're using the app or the calendar or the book or the journal, you can start quickly seeing the progress you're making. Hey, this week I've already taken 25 steps towards better meat. Ooh, this week I've only taken 7. Me, I'm not doing, it's accountability. I like to say, what do they say on Shark Tank? Give me the number, give me some data. And I like to always say, here's a simple way to find out, are you really feeding your body, your mind, and your spirit what it needs to move you further, better down the road to where what you're trying to achieve? And so, let's get some numbers. And it's not rocket science, 5 steps a day. Are you doing the things you need to be doing that's going to help you? It's feedback and accountability. So that's 5 steps. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot the last step, your spirit. Did you work your spiritual muscles? I came from the health and fitness background, so I like to always say to neglect your spirit is like skipping a meal. It leaves you empty. And when I think about my strengthening my spiritual muscles, like strengthening my physical muscles, if I only work my physical muscles once a week, once a month, twice a year, how physically strong will my body be to deal with any kind of physical activity? Ooh, a tree fell down in the backyard. Oh, I got to move a table upstairs. How physically strong will I be able to do that? Same thing with the headaches that we face in our life. Are we working our spiritual muscle? And guys, yeah, you can sit there and read, you can attend service and everything, but there's different ways you can strengthen your spiritual muscles. You can listen to podcasts, you can listen to music, you can fellowship with others. Those are all other ways to help strengthen your spiritual muscles. And that's what we're talking about. Are you doing the things that may help you deal with the headaches of careers, jobs, unemployment, headaches with family members, just other, loss of job, the health of an elderly person. Those are things that really weigh on you and your spirit and everything. And so how do you have the strength to deal with some of those things that we're all going to deal with?
Dr. Len, for listeners who want to connect with you, what is the best place for them to find you?
Or they want to connect with me, 5 steps a day. You can download the app. It's free to download and everything. If they want to use the steps, if they want to learn more, follow some of the stuff I try to promote and teach and talk about, you can go to drlenlopez.com. They all kind of intertwine with each other. And so, yeah, so I hope they can find 5 steps a day. Oh, let me just say also, there's also I think I need to change it because, when I first created this years ago, Yusuf, or a couple of years ago, Yusuf, I shared it with a lot of my cohorts and everything. And they said, "Hey, doc, this is really cool." It's like a little one pager describing it. And they would always tell me 2 things. "Hey, doc, this needs to be an app. And can I have a copy of this? I want my kids to read this." And so I shared that just because I ended up creating a teen version, and that seemed to be good because, I'll say this, we all know that as an adult, you don't get to drive until you're like 16 years of age and everything. You have to learn that. And I teach people how to navigate their shopping cart, how to navigate through the cookie and chip aisle, right? Well, as teenagers, in your second decade of life, you get full control of what you get to put into your mental shopping cart. And so to try to start teaching them that, hey, you just can't let that 80% rule govern so much. You need to put some of those good thoughts into your head because, um, we start feeding our mind as early as, y- you know, 10 years of age and everything. And so some kids aren't as well equipped for that. And so, created a team, and it really should be a teen, young adult version because some of the steps are the same, but they're different for what an adult like you and I would be looking for versus someone who is 18, 20, 22, as far as what they're looking for, especially when it comes to the eating physical steps.
Yeah. Perfect. And to everyone listening, all these links are in the show notes, so just go and check those out. Dr. Len, is there any last message that you want to leave us with?
I'll just say this, we've all heard the expression, "You are what you eat." You are responsible, let me say, you are what you eat. You are the chef. If you're older than 20, right? You are the chef responsible for feeding your body, your mind, and your spirit. And I say that because when I'm, having teens, they would always tell me, "Dad, you're a terrible cook," or "We don't have any good food in here." And they were just saying that we didn't have enough junk food in the house to snack on and everything. And, it's all about feeding body, mind, and spirit. As an adult, you are the chef. You are the one who's responsible for what you feed your body, what you feed your mind, what you feed your spirit. I hope you can understand that and start taking the necessary step to get you to where it is you want to be, because it's you have all the cards.
If this episode gave you something, don't rush past it. Maybe tonight, just ask yourself the 5 questions Dr. Len shared. Did I sleep well? Did I think better? Did I eat right? Did I get physical? Did I work my spiritual muscles? And if you can shade even one step, let that be enough for today. This is Healthy Mind, Healthy Life. I'm Yusuf, and I'll see you in the next episode. Take care of your life like you matter.